Here's something nobody wants to admit. Right now, there are people who dislike you, maybe even hate you, and you have no idea why. You've been kind to them, respectful. You haven't done anything wrong, at least nothing you can think of. But the energy is there, the coldness, the subtle hostility, and it eats at you. You replay interactions in your head. What did I say? What did I do? How can I fix this? But here's what the ancient Stoics understood that most people today don't. Sometimes, people hate you for reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with you. Not because you're a bad person, not because you did something wrong, but because of what you represent, what you reflect back to them about themselves. Today, I'm going to share 6 reasons people dislike you, backed by Stoic philosophy. And here's the uncomfortable truth. None of these are your fault. But all of them will teach you something profound about human nature and how to navigate it with wisdom. Let's begin. The first reason, and this is the one that hits hardest. People hate you because you're doing what they're too afraid to do. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He understood that most people know what they should do. They know the relationship is wrong. They know the job is unfulfilling. They know they're living a lie, but they're too scared to change it. And then you come along. You quit the stable job to start your own thing. You leave the toxic relationship. You move to a new city. You pursue the dream they've buried. And suddenly, you're not just a person anymore. You're a mirror, a reflection of their own cowardice. And people don't hate mirrors because mirrors are mean. They hate mirrors because mirrors tell the truth. I watched this happen to my friend Alex. He worked in corporate finance for 8 years, hated every minute. Everyone in his office complained about their jobs, their bosses, the meaninglessness of it all. Then Alex quit. No backup plan. Just quit to pursue music, something he'd always wanted but never had the courage to try. You'd think his co-workers would be supportive, right? They all hated their jobs too. But the opposite happened. They turned on him, called him irresponsible, said he was throwing his life away, made jokes about him failing. Why? Because his courage exposed their cowardice. His action highlighted their inaction. And rather than face that uncomfortable truth about themselves, they attacked him. This is what Epictetus meant when he said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." The moment you start living differently, people will criticize you, not because you're wrong, but because you're reminding them of everything they're not doing, and that reminder is unbearable. So they dress up their discomfort as concern. They convince themselves they're trying to protect you, but really, they're trying to protect themselves from feeling inadequate. If you're experiencing this right now, if people are judging your choices, criticizing your path, trying to pull you back into the cage they're comfortable in, understand this. Their hatred has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just doing something they wish they had the courage to do. Second reason people dislike you. You're not playing the game they want you to play. Stoicism teaches that most of society operates on unspoken rules, hierarchies, social contracts, games of status and approval. And when you refuse to play those games, when you opt out of the competition entirely, people resent you for it, because your refusal to play invalidates the game itself. Think about it. Someone spends their entire life chasing status, the right job title, the impressive car, the perfect Instagram life. They sacrifice their time, their authenticity, their peace, all to climb a ladder they're not even sure they want to be on. Then you show up. You don't care about the status markers. You drive an old car because it works. You have a modest job that gives you time for what you actually care about. You're not on social media performing your life for strangers. and you're happy, genuinely happy. Do you know how infuriating that is to someone who's sacrificed everything for external validation? Your contentment without the things they're killing themselves to achieve makes them question everything. It suggests that maybe the game they're playing is pointless, that maybe they've wasted years chasing things that don't actually matter, and rather than accept that painful realization, they attack you. They call you lazy, unambitious, settling. They need you to be miserable to justify their own choices. Seneca wrote about this extensively. He talked about how people judge you by their own values, not by yours. If they value money, they'll judge you for not pursuing wealth. If they value status, they'll judge you for not caring about titles. But here's what Seneca understood. Their values are not universal truths. They're just one way of living. And your choice to live differently doesn't make you wrong. It makes you free. I know someone named Rachel who experienced this intensely. She had a successful career in law, partner track, 6-figure salary. Everyone was impressed. Then she left it all to become a yoga instructor. Made a fraction of the money. Her former colleagues couldn't handle it. They'd make snide comments. Must be nice to not have real responsibilities. I guess not everyone needs to be ambitious. The judgment was relentless, but here's what Rachel understood. Their criticism wasn't about her, it was about them. They were trapped in a life they'd chosen for approval, and her freedom was a painful reminder of their prison. If you're experiencing judgment for not playing the status game, for not caring about the things you're supposed to care about, for choosing a different path, understand this. Their hatred isn't about you. It's about their own fear that they've been playing the wrong game all along. You haven't done anything wrong. You've just chosen to define success differently. And that choice is unbearable to people who've sacrificed everything for a definition they inherited rather than chose. Third reason, you're healing, and your healing highlights their wounds. This is one of the most subtle but powerful dynamics. When you start doing the inner work, when you go to therapy, practice self-awareness, set boundaries, break toxic patterns, you change, you become healthier, and that health exposes the dysfunction in everyone around you. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." But he also understood that becoming better often means leaving people behind. Not because you want to, but because they can't tolerate the reflection you've become. Let me explain how this works. Imagine you grow up in a dysfunctional family. Everyone's enmeshed. Boundaries are non-existent. Communication is passive-aggressive. Emotions are either explosive or suppressed. That's just how things are. Everyone's adapted to it. Then you start therapy. You start learning about healthy communication, about boundaries, about emotional regulation, and you start implementing these things in your relationships. You stop engaging in the drama. You set limits. You communicate directly. You'd think people would appreciate this, right? But they don't. They hate it. Why? Because the dysfunction was the glue. The drama was how everyone connected. And by refusing to participate, by becoming healthy, you're breaking the system. You're highlighting that the system is sick. And rather than do their own work to heal, they attack you for changing. They say you've become cold, distant. That therapy has ruined you, that you think you're better than everyone. But here's the truth. You haven't become worse. You've become healthier. And your health is terrifying to people still committed to their wounds. Epictetus taught that you cannot control how others respond to your growth. He said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The same applies here. It's not that you're changing that's the problem. It's their reaction to your change. I've seen this destroy friendships, families, relationships. One person starts healing, starts setting boundaries, starts refusing to participate in toxic patterns, and everyone else in the system turns on them. Not because that person did anything wrong, but because their healing is a mirror. It shows everyone else that change is possible, that they too could heal if they were willing to do the work. And that possibility is unbearable to people invested in their victimhood. If you're experiencing this, if people are criticizing you for going to therapy, for setting boundaries, for changing in positive ways, understand this clearly. Their hatred isn't about you. It's about the fact that your healing is showing them their own refusal to heal. You're not the problem. You're just no longer participating in theirs. And that makes you the enemy in their dysfunctional system. Fourth reason, and this one's crucial. You remind them of someone who hurt them. This is projection, and it's completely irrational. But human psychology doesn't care about rationality. The Stoics understood that people don't see reality as it is. They see reality through the filter of their experiences, their wounds, their unresolved trauma. And sometimes you trigger something in them that has nothing to do with you. You might look like their father who abandoned them, or sound like their ex who cheated, or carry yourself like the sibling who always outshone them. And even though you're not that person, even though you've never hurt them, their subconscious doesn't distinguish. It just reacts. Seneca wrote about this phenomenon. He observed how people's reactions often reveal more about their inner world than about external reality. He said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality, and projection is exactly that. Someone imagining you're a threat based on their past, not your present." I once knew someone who hated me on sight. We'd never met before. I'd never done anything to them, but the hostility was immediate and intense. Years later, I found out I reminded them of their older brother who had bullied them relentlessly growing up. Same build, same mannerisms, similar voice. Their hatred had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with unresolved childhood trauma that I unknowingly triggered. This is happening more often than you realize. Someone dislikes you because you remind them of a teacher who humiliated them, or a friend who betrayed them, or a parent who neglected them. And no matter how kind you are, they'll interpret everything you do through that wounded lens. The Stoics taught that you cannot control other people's perceptions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. You can't make someone see you clearly when they're looking at you through the distorted lens of their trauma. All you can do is refuse to take their distorted perception personally. Here's what makes this particularly difficult. When someone projects onto you, your instinct is to defend yourself, to prove you're not that person. But the Stoics understood, you can't logic someone out of an emotional reaction. Their hatred isn't based on evidence, it's based on feeling, and feelings don't respond to facts. If someone dislikes you for reasons that make no sense, if they're hostile despite you being nothing but kind, consider the possibility that you're triggering something in their past. Their hatred, while directed at you, isn't about you. It's about a ghost they're still haunted by. Fifth reason, people hate you. You're content, and that threatens their worldview. Most people operate under the belief that happiness requires certain conditions. You need the perfect relationship, the dream job, the ideal body, the right amount of money. Happiness is always just beyond the next achievement. Then you show up. You're content with a simple life. You're not constantly chasing more. You're not complaining. You're not miserable despite not having all the things they think are necessary for happiness. And your contentment is deeply threatening, because it suggests that maybe happiness isn't about external conditions. Maybe it's about internal state. And if that's true, then they've been chasing the wrong things. Marcus Aurelius lived this paradox. He was the most powerful man in the world, had everything. Yet, he wrote, Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. He understood what most people refuse to accept. Contentment is an inside job. But accepting that truth means taking responsibility. It means admitting that your unhappiness isn't because you don't have enough. It's because you haven't cultivated inner peace. So when people see you content without the things they're killing themselves to achieve, they resent you. They need you to be miserable to justify their own striving. Your peace threatens their entire philosophy. I've watched this play out in corporate environments. Someone shows up who's genuinely happy, not faking it, actually content. They're not stressed despite having less money. They're not anxious despite having a lower position. They're just at peace. And their co-workers hate them for it. They'll accuse them of being lazy, unambitious. Because if contentment is possible without climbing the ladder, then what's the point of the climb? Epictetus taught, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. But most people have built their entire identity around wanting more. And your demonstration that happiness is possible without endless accumulation threatens that identity at its core. If people criticize you for being too content, for not wanting more, understand this. Their criticism isn't about you, it's about their own inability to find peace. Your contentment shows them that peace was always available, and that realization is unbearable. Sixth and final reason. You possess something they want but can't have. This is perhaps the most primal reason for hatred. Envy, pure and simple. The Stoics understood envy as one of the most destructive human emotions, because unlike other emotions that fade with time, envy compounds. The more someone has what you want, the more your resentment grows. Seneca wrote extensively about envy. He observed that people can forgive you for almost anything except having something they desire but cannot obtain. And the cruelest part? You don't even have to flaunt it. You don't have to brag. Your mere possession of it is enough to trigger their hatred. This could be anything. A loving relationship when they're lonely. Natural talent when they've worked hard with little result. Ease in social situations when they struggle with anxiety. Physical beauty when they feel inadequate. Intelligence when they feel stupid. Success when they're failing. The list goes on, and here's what makes it particularly painful. You often don't even recognize what you have that they want. To you, it's normal. But to them, it's everything they lack. I watched a friendship dissolve because of this. Two women, close for years. Then, one got married to a wonderful partner. The other was still single, desperately wanting a relationship. She couldn't handle it. Every time they'd meet, she'd make passive-aggressive comments. Must be nice to have someone. I guess not everyone is meant to be alone. The friendship ended. Not because the married friend did anything wrong, but because her happiness in an area where her friend suffered was unbearable. Marcus Aurelius understood this dynamic. He wrote, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. When someone envies you, they're not seeing you clearly. They're seeing what they lack reflected in what you have, and that reflection is torturous." The Stoics taught that you cannot make yourself smaller to accommodate someone else's envy. That shrinking yourself, hiding your gifts, downplaying your success, it doesn't help. Because envy isn't rational. It's not about what you do. It's about what you represent. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Applied here, if you want to live fully, be content to be envied. Because living small to avoid others' envy is its own tragedy. If someone hates you because you have something they want, whether it's a quality, a circumstance, a gift, understand this. Their hatred is not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of their pain. You're not doing anything wrong by being talented, beautiful, successful, happy, loved. You're just being yourself. And their inability to be happy for you says everything about them and nothing about you. So there you have it. 6 reasons people hate you, and none of them are your fault. They hate you because you're doing what they're afraid to do, because you're not playing their game, because your healing highlights their wounds, because you remind them of someone who hurt them, because your contentment threatens their worldview, because you have something they want. Understanding these reasons doesn't make the hatred hurt less, but it does something more important. It frees you from trying to make everyone like you. The Stoics understood something profound. You cannot control other people's opinions. You cannot make someone see you clearly when they're determined to misunderstand you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Read that again. We care more about others' opinions than our own self-knowledge. That's the trap. When someone hates you, your instinct is to change yourself, to fix whatever's wrong. But if their hatred isn't about you, changing yourself won't fix it. So what do? The Stoic answer is simple. Focus on what you can control: your actions, your integrity, your character. Live according to your values, regardless of whether others approve. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Not because being foolish is good, but because others' opinions shouldn't dictate your path. If you're living with integrity and someone still hates you, that's information about them, not you. Let them have their opinion. Your job isn't to be liked by everyone. Your job is to be true to yourself. And the moment you stop trying to make everyone like you, the people worth knowing will respect you more. Because authenticity is rare. So if you're struggling with being disliked right now, if you're questioning yourself, trying to figure out what you did wrong, stop. Sometimes people hate you for reasons that have nothing to do with you, and that's not your problem to fix. Your responsibility is to live with integrity, to pursue your path, to become who you're meant to be. And if that threatens people, that's their work to do, not yours. You're not here to shrink yourself so others feel comfortable. You're here to grow, to evolve, to become the fullest expression of yourself. And if that journey makes some people hate you, let them. Their hatred is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their limitations. Keep growing, keep healing, keep being yourself. The right people will love you for it.